What is going on with the Drew Sanders situation? Because we heard one thing before the season started when it came to Drew Sanders, and that he would be back for the Eagles game, which was, I believe, week 5. It is now week 15. We got an extra update on him from our head coach, Sean Payton, and still no Drew Sanders. Welcome in, Broncos country, to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and coming up on today's show, we're going to deep dive into the whole Drew Sanders issue. And are we going to see Drew Sanders in a Broncos uniform this year? Are we going to see him next year? Is it finally time to give up on Drew Sanders? Will we ever see more of this player? And I think it is an important thing to talk about simply because this is a player that we invested in. He's got a lot of talent. There's no doubt about that. But the guy cannot stay healthy. He's never on the field. So do we decide that, hey, it might be time to just move on? We'll talk about it here on this episode and then get into another couple of other injury updates plus some running back stuff. First things first, though, you got to help us out real quick. If you want Broncos news to flood your timeline, there's a very simple thing that you have to do. Like today's video. It helps push the YouTube algorithm along and says, hey, you want more Denver Broncos content? We're going to go to your liked videos and see which ones you've liked. And if you like the Broncos Breakdown, well, then they're going to, push along more Broncos content to you. So do me a favor, hit that thumbs up icon if you want nonstop Denver Broncos stuff for your entertaining pleasure. Let's rewind the clock for just a moment, shall we? Let's go back. Drew Sanders has spent 13 weeks on IR with a foot injury. Now, if you remember, back before training camp started, he got that foot injury. And we were told, okay, it's short-term IR. He has the opportunity to come back for the Philadelphia Eagles game. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Well, then the Philadelphia Eagles game comes along, and Sean says, no, we're not quite there yet. Well, now it's week 15. We still have not seen Drew Sanders take the field. So he was asked about it, as any coach would be asked about it. And here's what Sean said about the possibility of Drew Sanders returning. It's going to be later, but he said yes. So he said, yeah, it's going to be later, but yes, we should see him. We monitor the progress. Our VP of Player Health and Performance, Bo Lowry, goes through the report. I don't have the game, but he'll return. Okay, well, I'm inclined to believe you, Sean, but the problem with that is we were told in week 5 that was going to be the timeline. It was short-term IR. And I get it. Foot injuries have setbacks all the time. But 10 weeks of setbacks? Is it possible that they just don't think he's good enough to take over for Alex Singleton or Dre Greenlaw? It's an entire possibility. I don't want to be negative Nancy here, but I mean, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So let's just go through all the other season-ending IR injuries and the short-term IRs that the Broncos have had this season so far. Here's the season-ending injuries. No possibility of coming back. Michael Burton, Nick Gargiulo, Johnny Walker, and Matt Henningsen. All of those guys, no possibility to return. But then there was the short-term IR players, the guys that either will A, come back this season at some point, B, we're not entirely sure yet, or C, should have already returned. Well, Drew Sanders is the only one that's eligible right now to return. Ben Powers, possibly coming back this month. Lucas Krull, possibly coming back this month. Karene Reid, later on, and actually next week, he's eligible to return. And then Matt Peart, we're not entirely sure. J.K. Dobbins could come back for the Super Bowl. But the only one that's eligible right now to return to the field is Drew Sanders, and we know for quite some time that has been the case. So why hasn't he? I think the writing is on the wall. I think what Sean is telling you, without actually telling you, is that we just don't know what his fit on this team is right now. I mean, and let's be completely clear. Inside linebacker is a position right now that the Broncos could use any depth on. So it's not like, even starting him wouldn't even be that big of an issue. It's can you just get him on the 53? And yet, we don't even see him as a rotational linebacker. And then I went back and I looked at his career stats, and I'm like, well, he hasn't really done much Like, he hasn't done nearly enough to show Sean and this fan base that he deserves a spot even as a rotational linebacker, missing the entire year. How long would it take him to ramp up to get back onto the field? I don't know. So, it's kind of the reason I ask you this question. Is it time to give up on Drew Sanders? Yes or no? And if it is no, then let me know why and how much longer you're willing to give him. Because we're in year 3 now. Still really hasn't taken the field all that much. I don't know the right answer to this, but I do know that the time is ticking. And that's the reason you went out and signed Dre Greenlaw. I would not be shocked, if the Denver Broncos went out and drafted an inside linebacker. It would not faze me whatsoever. Because I've already seen what the Broncos have done in going out and signing someone in free agency. So I don't know that they trust Drew Sanders' ability to stay healthy. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. Now, coming up next, we are going to talk about J.K. Dobbins and his injury, and is it possible if he could return for the Super Bowl? Because every sign is indicating that if the Broncos make the big game, yes, he could. Before I do that, let's talk about Harry's for a second. Harry's is the best place to find your personal grooming habits and on-the-daily stuff for the best shave possible. I've got Harry's locked and loaded at my house, ready to go for when I need to shave, and trust me, that's like every 12 hours. I'm that hairy. But when it comes to what Harry's actually provides for you, they have got you covered. If your old razor dulled way too quickly, if it irritated your neck, and if it was way too much on those refills, $30 for 8 refills, come on, man, that's a total scam. That's where Harry's Plus has you covered. They've got advanced pivoting systems to reach every corner of your face with refined blade technology for a closer, smoother shave and a weighted metal handle for extra control and comfort. With Harry's Plus, you get a barbershop quality shave with German engineered blades. Each blade is honed at 3 different angles to cut hair cleanly at the root without tugging. Harry's has launched their most advanced razor ever, and it is still cheaper than the Gillette Fusion 5. For a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, 1 refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer. And after you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? Tell the Moose that Harry guy from the Broncos Breakdown sent me. All of that in the comments and description of today's video. All right, so let's move on to J.K. Dobbins really quick. There was a lot of different reports that indicated that he could come back for the Super Bowl. In fact, Sean was asked directly about J.K. Dobbins and his ability to return, and he said it won't be soon, meaning you're not going to see him for the remainder of the season or pretty much for the entirety of the playoffs. However, there is a chance that it could happen for the Super Bowl. Now, I want J.K. Dobbins as back as much as the next guy. Believe me when I say that. I think if you get J.K. Dobbins back for the Super Bowl, you are adding that little extra something that just makes this team so unbelievable. However, if we get more performances like these 3 gave us against the Raiders, do you really need him back for it? I mean, I know the answer is we want him back, but do you need him back? Harvey had 75 yards rushing. Jaleel had 22. Tyler Bidet had 16. All of that combined is well over 100 yards. If you add Bo's legs, I think you have plenty there on the ground. It was an impressive performance. Granted, it's against the Raiders. I get it. They suck. But we play the Packers this week. What's it going to look like against the Green Bay Packers with that defensive front, against that team, with that stout of a defense? So then I started thinking, well, let's go beyond this year. What could a potential offense look like next year without taking the draft into consideration? Right? We're not going to talk about new rookies coming in on offense. We're not talking about free agency. Just from the team we've got now, what could a potential offense look like in 2026? I don't hate this at all. This is a really good lineup. Bo, Cortland, Troy, Mims, Evan Ingram, RJ Harvey. I didn't even put Pat Bryant in there. Hell, you've got depth on depth on depth because RJ Harvey showed me against the Raiders that he has the ability to go out and play like an RB1 at times. Is it going to be every single game? Probably not. And if you decide to move on from J.K. Dobbins, which is an entire, take two, it is an entire possibility, then you might want to go out and draft another running back, which we'll touch on here in just a little bit later on in the show. But I do believe it all comes down to risk and reward with J.K. Dobbins. The reward is high. We've already seen it. He's been unbelievable this year. But there is risk. Because remember, this is the only, actually, no, not the only. He has not completed an entire NFL season yet in its entirety. Not a full NFL season has been completed by him. Every single season has been cut short due to injuries of some sort. And then I was like, if that's the case, let's compare J.K. Dobbins' rookie year to R.J. Harvey's rookie year. Because the one question that everybody wants to know then is R.J. Harvey worthy of that RB1 spot? You take a look at these numbers. This is J.K. Dobbins' rookie season with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, J.K. Dobbins has way more carries, obviously more rushing yards, but R.J. Harvey's a more dual threat back. More receptions, more receiving yards, same amount of total touchdowns. What if R.J. Harvey just turns it on and becomes like a J.K. Dobbins? What if that part of his game that is kind of lacking or not as developed as J.K. Dobbins is yet, is a probably better way of saying it, what if that develops and we get R.J. Harvey to become more like J.K. Dobbins? It's scary to think about because then you have R.J. Harvey as your number one, and then you could have Jaleel McLaughlin. You could have Tyler Bidet as your number two. So if you had to make the call for your RB1 for next season, is it R.J. Harvey? If it's so, type R.J. If it's J.K. Dobbins, type J.K. If you still want both, which probably is the smartest answer, type RB down in the live chat or in the comment section down below. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. A reminder to subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 51,000 subscribers. Like today's video. As always, Broncos country, a mile high salute. Be cool.